Utah Business is pleased to present the 2023 Corporate Counsel of the Year Awards, honoring Utah's top-performing corporate counsel. Today's program is sponsored by Curtin McConkie, Digital Bytes Production and Design, Web, ACC Mountain West, Cricket, Mayor Brown, R Plus Energies, The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Utah Valley University, Strong and Hanny. Please welcome our Master of Ceremonies, the Senior Correspondent of KSL TV News, Carol McHugh.
Good afternoon, everyone. I know we're just getting started, just getting seated. Welcome, welcome. This is the 6th annual Utah Business Corporate Counsel Awards Luncheon. Congratulations to this year's honorees. Today we're recognizing some exceptional corporate counselors who serve as invaluable guides and leaders within their organizations. In-house attorneys have tough jobs that force them to wear many hats. But more important than their daily tasks are their roles helping steer their companies safely through the choppy waters of change and innovation. During today's program, we will have the opportunity to hear from these accomplished professionals and gain a deeper understanding of their vital roles. Please welcome the Editor-in-Chief of Utah Business, Melanie Jones.
On behalf of Utah Business, welcome to our 2023 Corporate Counsel Awards. In addition to our honorees, we gratefully acknowledge the business and community leaders who have joined us today. Utah Business fosters connection, insight, and recognition for Utah's thriving professional community. Through our events, magazine, and website, we highlight the ideas, innovations, and people behind Utah business success stories. We are all in on Utah, and we can't wait to tell your stories. This event honors those who have navigated complex mergers and acquisitions, walked their companies through IPOs and exits, and led teams through restructurings. But they are also the unsung heroes of an organization, the guardrail that ensures the company doesn't veer off the road. Many of our honorees have had to focus their work on layoffs, pandemic-related challenges, and remote workforces that span across state lines. What perhaps was meant to be a year filled with growth and possibility was instead a year of pivots. You managed those pivots while continuing to protect our patents and intellectual property, while keeping up to date on evolving laws around privacy and artificial intelligence, while engaging with claimants and managing all of our contracts. Thank you for gracefully navigating our company's legal, ethical, and operational challenges. Thank you for your practical, business-centered advice, and thank you for sometimes protecting us from ourselves. We are honored that you are here to celebrate with us in the midst of all of it. I also want to thank our partner and presenting sponsor, Curtin McConkie, as well as our premier sponsors, Digital Bytes Production and Design, and Web. We also appreciate our primary sponsors and our photo and video sponsor, Strong and Hanny, for supporting these remarkable individuals. Thank you for your support, and congratulations again to our 2023 Corporate Counsel honorees.
Thank you, Melanie. Curtin McConkie is Utah's largest full-service law firm with 5 offices and more than 160 award-winning attorneys. Their clients count on them for day-to-day legal counsel, practical negotiations, copyright and trademark protection, and optimizing business growth. Regardless of company size or the challenge at hand, Curtin McConkie offers a cost-conscious attitude and concierge-level customer service. Curtin McConkie doesn't just know law, this firm understands successful business and community. Please turn your attention to your video screens.
Job of building good relationships and building trust within the community.
I think responsiveness, quality, and value, that's something we pride ourselves on. Great people that are exceptionally bright, but they also, understand the business and know how to talk to people.
We help small clients, we help large clients. We are really able to provide a turnkey service in an efficient manner.
The topics are so numerous that it's very helpful to have people that specialize in different areas that all collaborate together in a way that I think, frankly, is unique in the Valley.
Curtin McConkie has a great understanding of the local business community, but also has the resources to help them grow internationally.
We're all really good people, and these good people have a diverse number of expertise. Our strategies are all based on what the client needs.
It's just exciting to see clients reach the goals that they have and to involve us in it. I consider that to be a real privilege.
And so as our clients and client base has continued to evolve technologically, and as new advancements are developed, we've kept pace with that.
When they talk about search engine optimization and other things that they're doing online, we have tons of great young associates and young partners that can speak that language.
Curtin will continue to become even more of a leader in the community.
Really lucky to work with some incredible attorneys here, but even better people.
We like to come to work. We enjoy what we do.
It's now our opportunity to hear from Mike Johnston, Vice President and shareholder at Curtin McConkie.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am grateful to be here today on behalf of Curtin McConkie, although I must acknowledge it makes me gulp and swallow a little bit to stand up here after Carol Makita. I'm certain my presentation skills are not what hers are. In any event, our firm is truly delighted to be here and acknowledge these fine recipients and honorees today. We join the audience and other sponsors in expressing our appreciation to each of them. Some years ago, Winston Churchill described the difficulties that organizations face when they try to make big decisions in these words, which resonate with me. He said, quoting, "In the flickering light of decision, the outlines of solid fact throw on every side vague shadows of possibility." Today's recipients help their organizations sift through those vague shadows to see the light, see clarity, and to make good decisions, and we're grateful for their efforts and their ability to do that. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to work and interact with a number of the recipients today, and so on a personal level, I can say that they're sophisticated legal minds, they're precise communicators, they're steady leaders, they're wise counselors, and they're loyal friends. In the case of Annalisa Wilson, she's also an amazing dodgeball player. So, some years ago when Annalisa and I were associates at Curtin McConkie, she and her husband and a bunch of the other associates had a dodgeball team. And thanks to Annalisa and her husband Mac for making our dodgeball team formidable. In any event, before I digress too far, just want to express appreciation and thanks to this year's honorees. We're grateful for their hard work, for their dedication, and for what they do for their organizations, and also for what they do for the legal community. So if you'll join me in expressing appreciation to them through a round of applause, I'd appreciate it.
We're now pleased to move to the recognition part of today's program and learn more about our honorees. Burke Olson, publisher of Utah Business, and Mike Johnson will help congratulate today's honorees. If you would please now turn your attention once again to the video screens.
I've always had it in the back of my mind that when I found a company and an opportunity that I felt was right, I would take it. It's a risk. I was in a comfortable job. I had sort of earned my credibility at my last job, but I wanted to do something different. I wanted a new challenge. And I've always had it in my mind that if, these few things are met with a certain company, I'm gonna take the leap, and I did, and I've been very happy with it. What I enjoy most about in-house counsel is something that I longed for when I was practicing, which is when you're outside working for clients and you do all the work, you help them succeed, you help them hit a milestone or an achievement, you then close that file and you go on to your next client and do some more work. What I enjoy being in-house is being part of the team and actually having my efforts go toward building something. I work for a legal technology company, so it's a bit unique. Not only am I responsible for all the legal affairs of the company, advising management, advising the board of directors, my input is put into the product. I'm one of the first people that our developers talk to and say, hey, what do lawyers do when they have this problem? Or what do lawyers like to see in this technology? And I've seen my ideas now, I've been there long enough that my ideas have made their way into the software products. And that's really rewarding, and that's kind of fun to be on this side of the fence for once.
Please welcome to the stage General Counsel and Corporate Secretary for Filevine, Alex Pearson.
Litigators in my family, so that's just what I knew growing up. My dad was a 3rd District Court judge here in the state of Utah, so I guess I just didn't think of anything more creative to do. I certainly didn't graduate from law school thinking that I would go work for a home builder. I didn't really know anything about the construction industry, but over the several years that I worked with Ivory Homes as outside counsel, I just became very impressed with the quality of people that work at Ivory Homes, and so when they approached me about coming in-house as general counsel, I knew that that was the type of people I would trust my career with. The advice I would give to a law student is just to keep going. Those first couple years when you're doing everything for the first time and every assignment you get you've never done before can be really challenging. But if you push through those first few years, I really love the profession of law, and I think that it will provide you opportunities if you put the work in. I would never describe my kids as challenges, but I will candidly admit that those several years where I was breastfeeding and growing babies all at the same time while balancing a full-time litigation practice was very challenging. I think that that's all for anyone. It's an ongoing challenge to balance family life and work life, and I'm very grateful for the support system that I have that has allowed me to give my best to both areas.
Please welcome to the stage Annalise Quinn Wilson, General Counsel for Ivory Homes.
Well, Alex got to skip this, but I'm being told that I need to take a minute. Thank you, Utah Business. It really is an honor, and I'm also grateful to my many mentors at Curtin McConkie, especially Ben Hathaway. It was fun to see several familiar faces up there. I come from a long family of litigators, so when Ivory Homes approached me, it felt a little bit like being asked to leave the family faith to go in-house. But 5 years in, I'm so grateful that Ivory Homes took a chance on me. Ivory Homes does amazing work, not only building homes, but also building our community. And as in-house counsel, I've been able to expand my view of legal work and found many opportunities for growth. So I've enjoyed getting to know the other honorees, and I look forward to learning from all of you. Thank you.
The most rewarding thing about my job, for sure, is helping clients. And from the very beginning, that's all I really wanted to do. And that's where I get the satisfaction at the end of a transaction or at the end of an event, to have everybody get together and talk about how happy they were with the outcome is really what it's all about. I enjoy getting in depth with my client. In private law practice, you have a lot of different clients. You cover a lot of topics at a very high level. In-house, you get to be much more in depth. You get to know your people a lot better and work on projects in a much more in-depth level. I believe that this is still a profession, and I believe we all have an obligation to help those that are coming up behind us. I know that help was there for me, and so I'm happy to make that help available for others that come after me. The advice I would give is to attack this profession with everything that you've got. This profession is a ton of fun, it's a lot of fun, but it's also a lot of work and a lot of challenges, and if you go at it 100%, you will really enjoy yourself. The challenge that I'm looking forward to is that I think everybody's career goes through phases. There's the early part of your career, the middle part, and the end part, and I'm heading into that end part. I'm excited for that. I want to see what shape it takes. I want to see what other people I can help and what it's going to look like after I'm gone.
Please give a warm welcome to the President, Director, and Shareholder with Clyde Snow & Sessions, representing multiple companies and in-house counsel, Brian Lebricht.
Thank you very much. As you saw from the video, I'm in-house counsel for a number of different companies. The platform that I use, though, is a traditional law firm, which is a little bit different than maybe some of others of you and some of the other winners here. But it allows me to keep that a broad range of clientele out there, and I do get in depth with clients, and sometimes my week is involved with 1 or 2 clients, maybe 3 clients. Sometimes my week is involved with a lot more clients. It just kind of depends. But most of the clients that I'm seeing are in that early stage. They don't have the budget or they don't have the need for full-time in-house counsel yet, but they need somebody with some experience, and that's where I come in and try to walk them through the steps and get to the next stage of where they want to be. So it's really been a pleasure. My platform at Clyde Snow & Sessions has been wonderful in allowing me to do that, and I'm very honored to be here. Thank you very much.
When I was 18, what I wanted to do when I grew up was actually be a lawyer. When I was younger than that, I had a crossroads. I either wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer, and I took debate in high school, and I excelled at it. And so because of that, I decided to go into the argument profession. The most rewarding part of my work is that I get to see some of my ideas come to fruition, and even if they don't come to fruition, at least I was part of the discussion in helping the board and the CEO evaluate all the options before they make their choice. So I like being a part of that decision-making process. An in-house counsel will encounter a lot of different areas of the law, typically. You could encounter everything from employment-related issues to operations, to litigation, to transactions. And so it's good to have someone who has a broad base of experience in all of those things. You also may have in-house counsel that is involved with lobbying or government relations efforts. And so in-house counsel that are well-rounded and that really just have wisdom are the ones you're looking for. That sounds kind of cliche, like it's advice from the Lord of the Rings, but it's really what you're looking for is someone who can make good, wise decisions.
Please welcome to the stage now the Chief Legal Officer and General Counsel for Professional Insurance Exchange Mutual, Chris Rogers.
Well, I feel honored and very humbled at this award. I'd like to thank Utah Business and the sponsors for putting this on. I wanted to impart on you 2 words of wisdom that have kind of pushed me through my life. The first is to always love to learn and to keep it simple. So the loving to learn part, when I was younger, I was fascinated by the story of Escape from Alcatraz. And I always wanted to know what it would be like. Could I actually do it? Could I escape from Alcatraz? So I wanted to know. So there is a competition in San Francisco, if you don't know, where you can swim from Alcatraz to shore. And a couple years ago, I did that. They take you in a boat, they drop you off, and now I know that if I were deposited outside of Alcatraz, I could make it to shore and make it safely. But that love of mine has always continued to love to learn new things, experience new things, and then also to keep it simple. There's a quote I had in my desk that I love, which says that you cannot overestimate the unimportance of practically everything. And the reason for that is because most of the things in this life, most of the things that we're deciding every day are not important. There are very few things in this life that are very important. And we try to keep it as simple as possible. Our lives, our communication, our discussions. I remember a judge recently, when I was arguing a motion for summary judgment, asked for supplemental briefing. And the opposing counsel was saying, well, I need 20, 30 pages, and I went the other direction. I said, I could do it in 5 pages. I could do it in 3 pages. And I think the opposing counsel had a panic attack, but the judge said, fine, do it in 5 pages. Well, I won my motion for summary judgment. Communication, keeping it simple, loving to learn, those are the keys that I think have been successful, and I impart on you that wisdom. Thank you very much.
I wanted to work in some kind of nonprofit organization that was making an impact on our community, something beyond just focused on revenues, and nothing wrong with that. But for me, I wanted to work for an organization that did something more than just focus on the balance sheet. And so for me, that drew me to higher education. And ultimately going to Utah Valley University, it's an open enrollment university, gave me that opportunity to go to school and really open my eyes to not just higher education in the world around me, but these big organizations that are really focused on helping people become better versions of themselves. So for me, success, I know exactly what it's not. It's not the accumulation of money. It's not the accumulation of power or fame or pleasure. I have noticed early in my career that the more you get of that, the more that you think you need and the more you want. And it's just this never-ending rat race. It's a mirage. And so for me, my definition of success is a little more grounded, more simple. It's really focused on the things that I can control in my life. I know that I can't control every single outcome in my life, but I can control every day the way I treat people and the effort that I give to a particular task or a particular relationship. When I do hit those two, treating people well and working hard, I feel the most satisfied and the most rewarded for the work I'm doing.
Congratulations, and welcoming now to the stage Clark Collings, General Counsel and Secretary to the Board of Trustees for Utah Valley University.
Well, thank you so much. This whole experience for me has been surreal. One word that I would describe as illogical. It's illogical that I'm in a room with all of you amazing attorneys right now being honored. That doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that Carol Makita is standing behind me right now and she just said my name. That's illogical. But I find comfort in these words from Oliver Wendell Holmes, who said, "The life of the law has not been logic, but it has been experience." And my experience is that attorneys are nothing without their clients, without their family, without their friends, without the broader community. And so in that spirit, for me, this honor, this award is like a Stanley Cup. And not the trendy cup that everyone drinks out of now, but literally the Stanley Cup that hockey players win when they win a championship. And on the Stanley Cup, if you don't know, the name of every team player is engraved on the cup. So in that spirit, I want to engrave some more names on this cup here. Those who are here at their awards right now, my wonderful, amazing wife, Jennifer Collings, Jeremy Nee, Kyle Reyes, Jeanette Bennett, Kara North, Candace Gardner, Sid Tetro, and Bryant Larson. And there are many back at the ranch at UVU. President Tuminez, Kara Schneck, Marilyn Meyer, Wayne Vaught, Kat Brown, Val Peterson, Eric Gardner, Jenny Christensen, Greg Jones, Kathy Jordan, James Duncan, Nicole Ferguson, Ransom Conduct, and Hope Nilsson, and the entire UVU family. So on behalf of this entire team, we thank Utah Business Magazine for recognizing our work and our efforts to help students, to help people change their lives through a holistic education at UVU. So thank you so very much.
I've always enjoyed taking things apart and putting things back together again. I remember building an RC racing car with my dad at a young age and finding that incredibly satisfying. My path to practicing law is a little bit atypical. I studied biomedical engineering as an undergraduate, and at that time I worked for a couple of years in a research laboratory, and we were developing systems for artificial vision. I think I didn't have the patience for the laboratory environment, and so I was incredibly intrigued when I learned that some of the same skills like problem solving and curiosity and attention to detail and critical thinking could be applied to the practice of law. Not too many years later, as a young associate, I remember sitting at my desk, looking out the window and holding a screwdriver in my hand and disassembling and reassembling an invention for a client, and just realizing that I had found my niche and it was something I loved. Working at Kizik, I kind of like to tell people I'm a cobbler. Sneakers are cool, they're fun to work with, but innovative sneakers are even more cool to work with. And for me, I am inspired by innovation. I love breathing in that air, and it's been incredibly validating for me to have crafted a patent portfolio that has captured the attention of some of the largest footwear brands in the world.
Please give a warm welcome to the Chief IP Officer and General Counsel of Kizik, Eric Nielsen.
Well, thank you, Utah Business, for this kind award. It's a high honor for me to be here among so many people who I view as being at the summit of the legal profession. At Kizik, we try to make one small everyday moment a little bit easier, and that's putting on shoes. And why do we do it? Well, our purpose is to inspire greater joy for life. And right now, I just wanted to thank so many who have inspired greater joy in my life. Mike Pratt, Kizik founder, Monty Deere, Kizik CEO, all the others at Kizik, the mentors that I have had now and in the past, friends, family, and especially my wife, Amy, who is here. She is the most tenacious person I know and has pulled me into and through some of the most pivotal decisions of my life that have led to me to where I am today. And there are so many more people. I've truly been one who's been blessed to be around people who've inspired greater joy in my life, and I thought I would issue that challenge to myself and to all of us here today to inspire others, to inspire in others greater joy for life, whether it's in the legal or the business sphere or personal spheres, to build up others. And I know that if we do that, we'll be happier and they'll be happier as well. So thank you again, and I leave that challenge.
I was a flat work residential concrete construction mason when I got admitted to law school. It was a bit of a weird fit for me. All my experience up to that point had been in construction, so it sort of became one of those things that I just enjoyed studying and stuck with. So consumer products in some ways was an accident for me, but I've always had an interest in how things are made and how they're distributed throughout the world. And my dad actually was involved in manufacturing oil filters and shocks throughout his career, so something I had some exposure to when I was young. Just sort of got lucky. My first job out of law school was at Lifetime, and you know, they actually showed me around the factory sort of as part of the interview process, and I remember my old boss telling me that they really liked me because I kind of lit up as we were walking through the manufacturing floor, and I was asking all kinds of questions about how things were made, and so it's just kind of a natural fit for me, I think. I think success is balance. You know, success is you get to contribute meaningfully in the world, but you also get to contribute meaningfully at home. So for me, success is really sort of a constant process of finding the right balance in life and doing what makes you happy.
Welcome to the stage now, General Counsel for Goal Zero, Hadley R. Moss.
Boy, I wasn't prepared for how intimidating this crowd was going to be. I appreciate Utah Business for putting this on, and for Rick Gilmer and my friends at Mashoff Brennan for nominating me and making this possible today. I mentioned in the video that I was in construction. I actually remember the moment I found out I got into law school. My wife called and we'd gotten the letter, and you know, I was standing on knee pads or knee boards on a driveway that I was in the middle of finishing, and I thought, wow, this is it, I made it. And had no idea how many challenges were ahead. You know, at Goal Zero, we're a company, we make consumer products, solar and battery products, and we talk a lot about impact and what we're sort of putting out into the world. You know, we're not just trying to put out garbage that's going to be recycled in 2 or 3 years. We're trying to put out products that have a meaningful impact and help people, you know, embrace clean energy and make good decisions. And I try to think of my career the same way. Sometimes as a lawyer, you get so focused on representing your client and that's it. But what is the impact of that representation on what we do? And it changes the way I react to certain situations. And I find that when we think of the legal profession in that way, it helps us to impact ourselves, our families, our opposing counsel, everyone else in a more meaningful and beneficial way. And it matches really well with the company that I get to work for. So thanks everybody, and thanks for the award.
I was an undergraduate at the University of California in Berkeley, and I was in the business school, and I was learning all about the business side of contracts and the regulatory environment, but I didn't know what I was going to do when I came out of school. I took 2 law classes as electives, one in the business school and one in the law school. And I did very well in those classes, and both of them told me that I should think about going to law school. So I went to law school. 3 years later, I thought maybe I'd be a lawyer for 3 years and eventually go back into a business role. But I found that I was really at home being able to use my analytical abilities as a lawyer, advising my business colleagues, and that was really the best marriage of my training. Renewable energy for me was somewhat of an accident. I was brought into working on projects in the early 90s. I found the work fascinating. And in 1992, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change was signed by 179 countries in Rio de Janeiro at the first Earth Summit. And when I read that document, I was so impressed by the intent of the contract parties to make a difference in the world that I could see this would be a real growth industry and one with which I could identify and look back on the end of a long career and feel like I had put my skills to good use.
Please continue to give a warm welcome now to John Spillman, General Counsel for R+ Energies.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Carol, and thank you to Utah Business and Curtin McConkie and the other sponsors for sponsoring this wonderful celebration. So here I am now, looking back on a long career in renewable energy at a time when market conditions have never been better for our industry. I have no regrets, and I remain optimistic about the future. Since 2010, my service to clients has expanded beyond wind energy to also include utility-scale solar PV projects and pumped hydro energy storage projects. When I first became intrigued by Utah in 2011, I learned that it has a fantastic solar resource, and there were already ongoing efforts to promote a local solar industry by the Governor's Office of Economic Development, EDC Utah, Utah Clean Energy, and others. These organizations deserve a lot of credit for launching and helping to support the growth of a renewable energy industry here. In the private sector, I have had the distinct privilege of working with Luigi Resta. In 2014, our team brought to market the first utility-scale solar project in Utah, an 80-megawatt solar power plant in Iron County. Other pioneers from our team back then included Teresa Foxley and Cliff Smith, both here today. More recently, we have all been reunited at R+ Energies, a subsidiary of the Gardner Group. We have either developed or constructed, or are actively developing and constructing 8 solar and storage projects in Utah alone, making up the core of a larger national portfolio of wind, solar, and pumped storage projects. I have the pleasure of leading a growing legal department within a culture that nurtures professional growth and values excellence. For the opportunities and support provided to me, I am deeply grateful to Christian Gardner and the Gardner family, Luigi Resta, Teresa Foxley, Cliff Smith, Matthew Shapiro, and my in-house attorney colleagues here today with us, Kevin Baker and Rebecca Johnson, as well as Wells Parker from the Dorsey Law Firm, who nominated me for this honor, and who champions the relationship between our firms. Finally, I am forever blessed with the love and dedication of my partner and spouse of 31 years, Patricia Spillman, without whose full support, my career path and our success would not have been remotely possible. Thank you all so much, and congratulations to all of the other honorees and their supporters here today. Let's go, Utah!
I'm someone that's a problem solver. I love finding a solution to a problem. Going in-house for me though meant that I got to work with a wide variety of people that all have different expertise. Some are way smarter than me and have so much more depth of knowledge in a technical or specific area, and others I get the opportunity to educate and teach, and I get to take that skill set that I've learned and apply it over and over and over to different fact patterns that make it really fun and exciting, and no day is the same as the last. My advice for anyone who wants to go in-house as a lawyer would be to treat it as wanting to have the business win and not just the legal win. Recognize and understand that you are part of a team and you have the opportunity to make an impact on the organization. At the end of the day, yes, you want to protect the organization, but you really want to help it grow and nurture it and guide it so that it can make those decisions in the right way to be able to grow and not have any of those hiccups along the way. I love being part of a team that gets to build something. I get to see it from idea to execution. I love seeing the announcements of the success that happens after all of the hard work and knowing I got to be a part of that. It's the best.
Welcome to the stage now from HireVue, General Counsel and Senior Vice President of Legal, Naz Scott.
So I was not prepared to give a speech, and I think there's a reason lawyers like being behind the scenes. But I'm incredibly honored for this recognition, and I have to say that I owe a lot of my successes to my team, my legal team, my team at HireVue. You know, HireVue is a global video interviewing technology that uses AI. About 18 months ago, I was kind of facing a regulatory landscape where no one was talking about AI, but we were seeing movement and change. And I think that one of the things that I'm incredibly lucky to experience is not just a need for legal in my company, but an invitation to be a member at the table and asking for my input. And I'm incredibly lucky to have that opportunity at a company like HireVue. I want to thank my husband for his incredible support in everything I do, and I'm very truly honored for this award. Thank you.
I'm one of those kids that from a very young age, my mom has always said to me, you'll be a great lawyer. And probably because I was good at arguing, but that kind of has always been in the back of my mind for lots and lots of years. As a younger corporate professional, I worked through college for a real estate appraisal company, and my boss was often involved in a lot of lawsuits as an expert witness, and so I got to see firsthand how it was to kind of work with a legal professional. And the client interaction was something that I really valued. It just was something that I had an interest in, and kind of just took the LSAT and said, let's apply and see what happens, and got into some good schools, and then off I went. I feel like my career journey has been a little bit of taking chances and being vulnerable and organic enough to kind of jump on an experience that you weren't necessarily planning. When I went to private practice right out of law school, the same thing sort of happened. We had a young burgeoning client named Pluralsight here in the States that hired one of our senior partners, and he reached out to me and gave me an opportunity to go in-house. And although scary because I was only a year and a half into my legal career, I made the jump and same thing with cricket. So that's why I'm here where I am. I just kind of take it a day at a time.
Please continue to give a warm welcome now to the stage, Randy Wood, Vice President, Associate General Counsel with Cricket.
Thank you so much. You can hear my voice is a lot deeper than on the video. I always hate hearing my voice. I've been self-conscious about it for years. When I call like American Express, they always say, "Settle down, ma'am, you settle down." So I was telling my table that my child therapist is really happy for me that I finally got the voice that I've always wanted. Apologies, I don't know why it's gone. My general counsel at Cricket, Don Olson, who is a dear friend and mentor, also received this award a few years ago. He's here today, and he told me that a lot of these remarks would be the same, and so that he wanted something heavy-hitting and it needed to be funny. So, of course, I went to Google and said, top 10 dad jokes for lawyers. So I'm just going to read the top 3 real fast. A man sued an airline company after it lost his luggage, and sadly, he lost his case. Thank you. What do you call a priest who becomes a lawyer? A father-in-law. And then thirdly, lawyers really, and this one's true, we do take the fun out of everything. Even Santa comes with a clause. I love the profession. I love the in-house profession so much. As a native Utahn myself, I love this state, and thank you, Utah Business, and thank you, Utah companies. It feels like the last 6-10 years have been so amazing in the Silicon Slopes community, and a lot of newcomers to Utah, and us, that when we could drive up to Snowbird and get there in an hour, we're like, get out of here, But we loved all these newcomers to the state, and it's been fun to have a career where my entire corporate career has been working for Utah-grown companies. Right out of college, I worked for Ivory Homes. Annalise Wilson, who's here, it's fun to see her as well, which is a Utah-grown company. And then, I was scared to go away from Utah after receiving my few bachelor's degrees from the University of Utah. But I went to GW after having done a Hinckley internship out in DC and loved it. And thought I'd stay there for a while, but I didn't. I came straight back to Utah, and not only to a firm, but another homegrown Utah business, Parr Brown. And I owe a lot to them and the Utah legal market for getting me where I am today. My advice to young people is always to take those experiences as they come. You saw in the video I said that I was only about 1.5 years into my legal career, and I just happened to go on hike with another senior partner I didn't know well at Parr Brown, which turned into a great friendship. And so when Pluralsight invited him to come in-house, I came a month after him and got to go to Pluralsight, another Utah-grown company. And it was so great. I was there for 3 years. We did 6 M&A transactions, lots of growth. From 300 to 1,200 employees, we ran the IPO. And then, after the IPO, I made another move to another amazing Utah-grown company, Cricket. And to contrast the Pluralsight in-house experience to the Cricket experience has been so much the same and also so vastly different. We also had the opportunity to take Cricket through an S1 filing registration and take them public. So to have seen 2 IPOs for 2 Utah companies as a native Utahn has been a pillar of something that I just have always wanted and a huge dream. And the first one was lots of confetti cannons, and the second one was in the middle of a pandemic celebrating with my family on Zoom. And, the last 3 years, if they've taught us anything, it's taught, through a pandemic, failing banks and markets, it's that uncertainty is always going to be constant, and lawyers are always needed in that uncertainty, whether it's positive or negative uncertainty. So thank you so much. I appreciate everything that has been said today, and I agree with it. Thank you to my Cricket family for nominating me for this, and for all of these great Utah professionals, especially grateful for my family and my native Utah family, especially my wife, who've is also a Utah-grown company. And so thank you so much. Appreciate it.
The advice I would give someone fresh out of law school is to focus on finding a place where you can work with people who have integrity and that you enjoy being with. There are lots of jobs out there, and there's no point in spending time working somewhere where you feel miserable or you're asked to do things you're uncomfortable with. If I wouldn't have gone to law school, I would have enjoyed becoming an independent investigative journalist or scholar who researches and writes books about topics that I'm passionate about. Figuring out ways to solve the growing political divide in the United States, how to address global warming while balancing the needs of third world countries to develop growing economies, and solving some of the trash and recycling problems the world is facing today. The thing I'm looking forward to in the next year or two is helping Brandless double, triple, or quadruple in size, find a way to a successful IPO or exit. I'm looking forward to the challenges that come with that kind of growth and to the excitement that comes from achieving those levels of success.
Congratulations and welcome to the stage from Brandless, Chief Legal Officer Stan Soper.
Thank you. Utah Business Magazine and Curtin McConkie, thank you so much for hosting and sponsoring this event and for this award. It's an honor to be here with everyone. Thank you to the Brandless team for nominating me, to Sid Tetro and everyone else that's here from Brandless, to my wife Gwendolyn Soper, to my senior paralegal Janica. I appreciate all the support I've gotten. It's really meaningful to me, and I really appreciate it. Also, my parents weren't able to be here today. My brother is here, thank you. When I announced that I was getting this award in a text thread to my family, my siblings and my mother all congratulated me. My father, who is an incredibly loving, wonderful person, and yet who struggles a little bit with expressing praise for others, his response to the announcement was, what is the name and substance of the award? And so if any of you speak to him before I do, I just wanted to answer that question. It appears to be wood, glass, and cardboard/paper. And it says, actually it doesn't have a name on it, but World's Best Lawyer, there you go, thank you. A few weeks ago, we were visiting our grandchildren in California, and my grandson, who's 4 years old, is obsessed with Transformers and wanted to show me and his grandmother over and over how these different Transformers can change from either a shark or a car or a truck into a fabulously powerful robot. And excuse me, I think it resonates with him and with other children because they are in the process of transforming as individuals from being children to young people to adults to leaders in the community eventually. And I started thinking about that and thinking about what our job is as in-house lawyers if the teams we work with are also in the process of transforming. And I think that's what is happening at many companies in Utah. There is transformation occurring as young people or people moving into companies really go through a transformation process and become leaders and thought developers.
and creatives in their various companies. And so what is the job of the in-house lawyer in that context? Well, in my mind, the best role and the best thing we can do as in-house lawyers is drive the snowplow in front of the transformers to try to clear the path, identify hazards, help them achieve their objectives, and help them transform into what they're able to become. Now, unfortunately, it's often the case that we also end up driving the police car and the ambulance that's coming behind to try to clean up the mess. And, you know, that is a role that we have to play sometimes, but the best possible thing we can do is to drive the snowplows and focus on that and help our teams achieve their ultimate potential. So once again, thank you to Utah Business, Curtin McConkie, and others for this award. I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
The reason I became an attorney was I was sitting on a park bench in 1989 in Geneva, Switzerland, trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life. I was shortly going back to school, and I thought, you know, maybe I should become an attorney. It's been a great decision. I've enjoyed practicing the law for the last, 100 years? No, 50? What drew me to the Savory Fund is that I've been working with the management team for over 8 years. I've been outside counsel for the various companies that they were involved with, and they started a new venture, the Savory Restaurant Fund, private equity fund that has the challenge of buying, building, and selling restaurants, and it looked like a great opportunity. I thought, I definitely want to be a part of this, and so we talked, and I ended up moving in-house with a group that I'd spent quite a bit of time working with over the last several years. If I was not general counsel for the Savory Fund, I think I'd have two jobs. One would be a photographer, the other one would be a high school tennis coach. I'm an assistant coach for Lone Peak, and at times we have found ourselves at the top of the state, winning state championships, 5 in total. That's been a great experience. I spent a lot of time with both boys and girls to see these kids, these teenagers that have all these dreams, trying to figure out what they're going to do with life. It's nice to see them on the tennis courts, giving everything they have to achieve their dreams.
Give a warm welcome now to Stephen Black, who is General Counsel for Savory Restaurant Fund.
Thank you, Utah Business. I'll have to apologize for my voice. We had an off-site leadership meeting yesterday. It might have involved a roller coaster in California. I'm not allowed to say where we were, but I lost my voice and we got in really late last night. So if you're looking over at table 10 and you see everybody nodding off, that's why. Nobody had a lot of sleep last night, but I wanted to talk about the people at table 10. So the Savory Restaurant Fund, as you heard, we buy restaurants, we build them, and then we sell them. It's a private equity fund that also manages the restaurants. So right now we have nine different restaurants under management, and so it's like 9 companies that we control, and so lots of work. Wanted to talk about the management team of this group. They're here today. Is Andrew Smith, Shauna Smith, Tyler Nelson, Josh Bouchard, and Brad Giles. The team has been together for a long time, so 10 years plus that I've been involved with them. And probably the biggest thing that comes to mind when thinking about this team is relationships. And in the legal field, you spend a lot of time attacking people, defending people, trying to come up with the best solution for your client. And when you have a great relationship with those clients, it makes the practice of law much better. And after moving in-house with them, it feels like a team, a full team effort. And There's lots of things that this team has done over the last decade, but one thing I want to talk to you about is something that's exciting that's just happening this week. Our CEO, Shauna Smith, she is appearing on the magazine cover of Franchise Times. It's one of the leading magazines in the country, and the reason for that is that the Savory team was awarded the transaction of the year for the sale of Swig to the Larry H. Miller Group. And that was obviously a very exciting transaction. So Shauna Smith at table 10, I can't see because of the lights. I'm not sure if she's awake, but she will be on the cover of a national magazine. I want to thank them for the last 10 years and the great things that we've done. We have done some amazing things. We've had lots of challenges. We've had great transactions, but the good news is the best is yet to come. So looking forward to that. Again, thank you to Utah Business. I appreciate this honor. Thank you very much.
When I was 18, there were a lot of things I was interested in. One, I thought I might want to make a career as an Army officer. And in fact, in college, I enrolled in ROTC. I was commissioned an officer in the infantry, served twice in Vietnam as an infantry officer. But it was during that period of time that 18-year-old desire changed to an interest in becoming a lawyer. When I resigned my commission, I went to law school, and I've never looked back. I think I've got the best client in the world, worked with some of the finest people in the world, among the general authorities and general officers of the church, and also just being able to serve church members generally. It's the client and the people that I get to associate with that is particularly rewarding to me. And I think the most important piece of advice or perspective I could offer to somebody is remember that the legal profession is a service business. That yes, it can be lucrative depending on the area of law one practices, on where one practices it. But at the end of the day, regardless of who your clients are, you're providing a service. To be able to provide dedicated and devoted service, giving the best advice that you can, but remembering always that you're providing a service for a client that they can't perform for themselves, I think that's the most important thing to remember.
Burke Olson will now introduce the recipient of the Corporate Counsel Lifetime Achievement Award.
Thank you, Carol. Thank you all for being here for this wonderful event. I add my congratulations to all of today's honorees, and it's been wonderful to hear from you. As a beneficiary in business and publishing of legal counsel, I applaud you and also acknowledge your important contributions to the amazing economy and business environment that we enjoy here in the Beehive State. It's now my honor to introduce Elder Lance B. Wickman, General Counsel of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to give you some perspective about why he's receiving our Lifetime Achievement Award. Let me read from one of the nominations that we received on his behalf. Lance B. Wickman has served as General Counsel of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints since 1995, after building a distinguished litigation career at Latham & Watkins. In this capacity, he has guided the church through innumerable complex litigation, corporate, legislative, and public affairs issues, both in the United States and virtually every nation in the world. From complex employment issues at one of Utah's largest employers, to the legal complexities of rapidly evacuating tens of thousands of missionaries around the world and advising worldwide church operations during the COVID-19 crisis, to corporate reorganizations around the world, to legislative issues related to the church's Utah and national efforts, to reconciling religious and LGBTQ rights leading to the Utah Compromise and the Federal Respect for Marriage Act, the scope of his duties and the magnitude of his influence has been immense. So, Elder Wickman, on behalf of Utah Business and the Deseret Management Corporation, we honor you for your exemplary career and are pleased to present you with this Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for this unexpected honor. I came, as have the other honorees today, grateful to Utah Business, to Kurt McConkey for being recognized today. But this Lifetime Achievement Award is something I had never imagined. Thank you so much for that. I'm grateful to my dearest colleagues who are here with me today, Bill Atkin, David Channer, who are Associate General Counsel of the church, Randy Austin from Kurt McConkey, my dear legal assistant, Michelle Tim, and my dear secretary and administrative assistant, Debbie Barker, and most especially my beloved wife, Pat, and our daughter, Courtney. I feel grateful, my dear friends, to represent, in my estimation, the greatest client in the world. I was already serving as a general authority in 1995 when the first presidency called me in and asked me to become the general counsel. And it has been the greatest honor of my life ever since to play a role, because the legal affairs of the church are integrally intertwined with its ecclesiastical affairs. And I'm just grateful to have been able to play some part in helping to move forward the work of the church to present the restored gospel to the world, but also to work with other leaders and lawyers from many faiths in working towards the great principle of religious liberty for all, people of all faiths. And so I'm honored to receive this award, and thank you very much.
Thank you again to the sponsors of today's event. We have a couple of housekeeping issues. You may have noticed the QR code in the middle of your tables. As a Corporate Counsel Awards luncheon attendee, Utah Business would also like to offer you a complimentary one-year subscription. So please scan that code and you'll be able to complete the registration online. Photos and videos of our honorees will be posted on the Utah Business website very shortly. We invite you to share them and add any photos that you have taken today using hashtag #UBCorporateCounsel. As a reminder, parking is paid for, so if you didn't get your validation as you checked in, please stop by the registration desk and get one before you exit. And finally, we like to recycle those name tags, so leave them on the table or put them at the registration desk as you leave. Thank you for joining us today, and congratulations to all of our honorees. Travel safely.